Welcome to another episode of Stirrups and Spirits, a podcast about bourbon, horses, and life. Today, in this episode, we talk with Dolly and Mike Waskowich, founders of The Bar Book, about their new app and how it's going to change the way you select your liquor purchases at bars, restaurants, and distilleries and liquor stores. Enjoy the episode. Here we go. So, welcome. So glad to have you guys here. If you're just joining us, I've got Mike and Dolly from The Bar Book, and they have just launched their app, so this is very exciting. We're going to talk all about this. But first, I would want to give you guys a chance to introduce yourselves, tell us a little bit about your story, and then we're going to dive right into this app that you guys have invented. I signed up for it, and I'm so excited.
No, appreciate it. Thank you. Well, it's a pleasure to be on here. Thanks for having us, and thanks for chatting with us about The Bar Book. I guess to start out, we started this about 2 years ago with a notepad and paper, just kind of scratching some ideas out and talking over the phone, kind of figuring out what we're going to do and how this would work and all these kind of things. But it started from the idea that we couldn't figure out what we wanted to drink next. We knew what we liked, and then we knew kind of where to find those things that we liked. But when we showed up and those weren't available, we didn't know next. So that's a short way, but a journey started from there, looking for us to find a way to find an app or build an app is what we ended up doing to tell us what we'd like to drink next.
That's fantastic. And so you guys came up with this bar book, and I've seen, books called The Bar Book in print, and they're mainly just cocktail recipes and, mix this with that to get these kind of flavors. But you guys have taken it to a whole nother level with this app.
Yeah. So that really comes from, so a bar book is essentially a bartender's, lessons they've learned, their notebook behind the bar that they keep to learn what their favorite recipes are, what their best flavors are, what, all that kind of stuff that you're talking about in those books are kind of a way to help them build that. They make notes in the margins and they put that together. And this really came to fruition once. And Dolly tells a story about a time she went to a bar in Louisville and they interviewed her for basically, a good 3 or 4 minutes and then made her a cocktail based off the questions that she answered.
So I have to give a shout out to Doc's Bourbon Bar in Louisville, Kentucky, because I did not like bourbon at all. I didn't like whiskey, like you name it. I did not like it. And I went into their bar with some friends and I explained to them that this wasn't my cup of tea and was actually going to try to order wine in a bourbon bar. And the bartender said, absolutely not. But she did ask me questions, you like wine, what type of wine do you like? And once I told her, or described my palate to her, she goes, I know I'm going to make you the best old fashioned. I know exactly what spirit I'm going to use. So I had never even heard of Russell 10-year reserve until she made it. And the thing was so good. I have my glass in front of me to where I literally was just like this for the rest of the night. And if I didn't have to drive, I would have just, gotten a hotel room and drank that all night long. Right.
That's awesome.
And so this is where we came up with the whole flavor profile, learn what you like, and then know what to order when you go out or make it home.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. That's exactly what we're trying to do here is be that bartender that you can't find everywhere.
That's amazing. And I just got back from a trip to Louisville and we were at the Bourbon Women's Symposium, which Dolly, you're going to go next year with me because
yes, ma'am.
Mike and I've already talked about this. You definitely have to go, and you're allowed to drag Mike with you, but you don't have to. There was almost 500 women at this thing, and over 200 of them, this was their first time coming to this symposium, and it was great. Everyone is family, and I bought a cup. We went to Jim Beam for the day. I bought a cup that says "Drink it any damn way you like," because that's just how it is. There's no wrong way to enjoy bourbon. There's no wrong way to enjoy any cocktail, really. If you like it, that's how it's supposed to be. And I feel like that really plays into your app too. I mean, there's no wrong way. There's going to be some bartender out there that'll find a way to mix the flavors that you like into a drink, even if they're coming up with a new drink. out of nowhere, and they're going to put a name to it and put it on the menu eventually if enough people like it. But there's no wrong way to enjoy the flavor profiles that you like, and you guys are going to create this new resource now where everybody's going to be able to find all those flavor profiles that they like, whether it be in bourbon or rum or vodka or whatever
tequila.
drink that
Don't
they want.
forget tequila.
How could you forget tequila? Exactly. So I think it's amazing.
That is, I mean, that's 100% what we're looking at. I mean, the bar book itself on the app has community ratings to kind of help steer, somebody who's never looked at a bottle before or a cocktail before, or even a beer, and it'll have a rating. Everybody thinks it's X, but that shouldn't encourage or discourage somebody from trying, something. It's really should be what you like and how you like it. And that cup's fantastic because that does fit exactly what we're trying to do here is help you find the drinks that fit your flavor profile and the way you like them.
And it helps keep marriages together because I do not like the same whiskeys that Michael likes. He likes the burn, or, as they say, the kiss at the end. And I'm like, I don't need to be kissed that much. Like when we just tone it down, right? So was it the Bottle and Bond? Is that the one where I just
anything over 100 proof?
It's just like, no, can't do it.
So he's a high proof guy and you're a low proof gal, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, but I'm glad we figured that out, because when he would order drinks for me, I'm like, what do you want me to do with this? Like, my throat is on fire right now. So now we don't have those problems.
Yep. And how long have you been drinking bourbon?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. When I went to Louisville that time, since 2020, right before COVID, right?
Yeah,
right before COVID.
So that's not long. That's not long. You have to develop your palate, and you'll find after a while, and I'm the same way. I'm not a high proof gal myself, but I found even this year, just coming back from the symposium in Louisville, I tasted higher proof bourbons this time, and I thought, no, we're tasting stuff at 126 proof, 128 proof. I'm going, there's no way I'm going to like this. It smelled wonderful. It had a great nose. And I'm like, this is going to burn. It's going to be like hellfire and gasoline going down. And I was like, you know what? That's not bad. And I ended up coming home with some bottles I didn't expect to bring home.
Oh, wow.
So it after a while, your palate will develop a little bit more. And I don't like to push over about 110, but I brought home some 120s this time, and I was a little proud of myself for punching them up there a little bit. But I don't usually drink that. I can't drink it neat. Yeah, I'll be honest. I can't drink it neat. I have to have at least a little water or in a really good cocktail. But I can't drink it neat. It's just it's still a little tough. But I can appreciate the flavor.
She could probably do higher proofs, 110s or whatever, if she had it mixed in a cocktail and sweetened up a little bit or even proof down, she could do that.
But so the reason I don't do that, though, is that I appreciate it enough, at least for me, that I don't want to feel like I'm wasting it. You know what I mean? Right? Because
any way you want.
I will gladly give it to someone else. But I will try. I will trust the process, as they say.
And cocktails are an excellent gateway to bourbon. It's the best way to introduce somebody new to bourbon, to bourbon. And then, they can pick bourbon flavor profiles based on the cocktails that they like. There's all kind of bourbon cocktails out there.
Oh, yes.
And then, from there, there's some people that never drink bourbon except in a cocktail, and that's perfectly fine. They're still drinking bourbon. So we're happy. We're absolutely happy with that.
No, I completely agree.
Absolutely.
So one of the other things the app is doing, obviously to the individual users, we introduce them to a new flavor profile and then kind of help them discover what they are wanting to drink and enjoy. But we also open them up to brands and bottles that they may not necessarily have tried otherwise. I mean, there are some fantastic, craft brands out there, smaller distilleries that don't necessarily get the notoriety or the brand awareness just because they're small. They have a small. I was just in one the other day. They have one warehouse, I don't know, maybe there's 100 barrels in the room, right? And that's about it. And they produce very small batch stuff, but
it's good.
It's very good, right? And I brought a few bottles back when I came back from there. But it's one of those things that you might not find it in every liquor store, you might not find it on every shelf, but
Right.
you'd try it if you saw it, if you knew about it.
And it's not to insult the big brands, right? You know, everybody loves Buffalo Trace, everybody loves that. But the bar book also helps with price points, right? Because what a lot of people don't realize, and I didn't realize till we started doing this, how hard it is to acquire certain bottles depending on where you live. So a perfect example, I tell this story all the time, is that plus I'm a good wife, so this is what I did. But Michael told me one time, if I ever saw a bottle of Old Fitzgerald, grab it. I don't care. He's like, I don't care where you are. I don't care what the price is. Grab it, because in Virginia, it's very hard to find.
It's a unicorn.
Right? It literally is a unicorn. And so I was down in South Carolina on some family matters and walked into just a random liquor store. I'll give a shout out to Mickey Finn's too. And literally on the top shelf is Old Fitzgerald. And to me, I call it the I Dream of Jeannie bottle, right? And so I'm like, is that the bottle he was talking about? And I call him and I grab it to buy it. And where I was, they didn't really appreciate what was on the shelf because it was a high price point for them in South Carolina. So the guy's like, are you sure you really want to buy this? And it's like, my husband told me if I ever saw this bottle, I had to get it. And then I understood when I came back to Virginia, because a bottle of Old Fitzgerald.
We saw in DC.
DC.
It went for almost $2,500.
Whoa.
Yes. Where in South Carolina, I was able to grab it for $400. So yeah. So that's the other thing about, what to look for and depend on what, state you're in. A really great place to find bourbon is, believe it or not, Texas. I figured with all the cowboys, there would be more,
Not everywhere in Texas, though. It's specifically El Paso when we were out there.
We would get, when this is how he got me to marry him, he would bring me, he would, yes, like seriously, because, you don't need a fancy, drink every single night, right? But a very good everyday bourbon for me is Weller's, right? So once again, very hard to find in Virginia, if you can find it. And so he's in El Paso, Texas, and he is bringing me back 1.75 liters because it's only $40. So I'm like, just fill the suitcase up every time you come here and I'll just store them because I can't find it here.
That's awesome.
So.
No, it's hard to find anywhere. Really.
Yes. Yeah. Unless you're in, well, anyway.
Yeah.
Some Weller is readily available down here in Florida, depending on what color you want. The green label you can get all day long.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Well, that's what she loves.
Yeah, I mean, because that's the, hey, I just want something. It's good, but I'm not breaking out the good. I mean, it's not that it's not good stuff, but you know what I'm trying to say. But I also heard that California is very easy. It's very easy to get a lot of bottles as well. So I don't know what to do with that.
I'm not moving to California. I'll travel.
No.
Okay.
So you've mentioned a couple times that you had to bribe her with some bourbon to get her to marry you. That your marriage, this has saved your marriage in some retrospect. So tell me a little bit about your history and how you guys, came to be, as far as how you developed. We got to make this bar book. What part of your life did this come from? What did you do as far as career before this happened?
So I was active duty military. She was retired, and I was finishing up the end of my career. And I had spent probably the last, 3 to 5 years of my career getting to know bourbons with a bunch of different guys that I had hung out with, and they had pretty extensive collections in their houses and whatever. And so they would always open something new, try something different. And I was trying to figure out a way to keep track of all this. And then,
that's where I come in.
And I could never figure out, necessarily what flavor I'm tasting in a bottle. I didn't have the the capability, and I probably still
His
don't.
palate sucks. That's what he's trying to
I can
say.
just tell you whether I like it or
guy
don't.
thing.
I can't tell you if
Yes.
there's vanilla or cinnamon or whatever, like unless it's overpowering. But Dolly can pick out the little nuanced flavors. She can be like, "Oh, there's a orange peel in this," or there's something like that. I'm like, I don't know, it's good.
So to digress just a little bit, how this also came about is I am a big wine snob. I will freely admit that. And I had an app on my phone where I could track wines. I would take pictures of them, rate them. So if I ever went to a restaurant, I knew exactly what I wanted when I looked at a wine list. And so we were on a cruise and I convinced him to do a wine tasting, even though he does not like wine. He's like, fine, I'll drink it because you want to do it. And we had to do blind tastings. And part of the blind tastings were, it wasn't just, hey, what grape do you think this is? But is it old world? Is it new world? Where do you, the region you think it came from? And I'm sipping these and I'm saying, oh no, this is old world. This is like, I'm going through the whole thing and he's looking at me like, how can you do that?
This one's bad. This one's good.
That's what he's doing. And I'm identifying all this other stuff. And so we wanted to bring that concept to the spirit world because it's overwhelming. Like it really is overwhelming. And then you can make some pretty expensive, bad decisions.
Yep.
So if we could just simplify it just a little bit and make finding what you like fun again, right?
Yep.
That's the goal of this.
I love it.
So I mean, we put that together. We used her palette and a lot of research to come up with our extensive what we call flavor matching technology, which is basically a back-end site that does a whole lot of computer work to figure out to pull the flavors from the different bottles you like, to match that with your ratings of those bottles, and then spit out results that are new to you. And it gives you something very similar to what music sharing apps do, which is a category called My Likes and More. And it will give you what you liked and then some others that kind of are in that same vein. And it's not necessarily, if you liked all bourbon, it will show you bourbons, but it will show you maybe some tequilas or some cocktails that kind of fit in that same line or have similar flavors to what you're looking at.
Okay.
And kind of, just help you guide you through that stuff.
Because the smokiness and, for lack of a better word, heaviness of some whiskeys and bourbons and things of that nature lends itself to, Michael can tell you, he likes reposado tequilas.
Yeah.
And he in the bar book will point that out to you. If your flavor profile is this, then in the realm of tequila or rum or whatever, here's some that you may want to try if you want to, try a different cocktail from a different bottle. So you can have some fun with it.
That's amazing.
I actually had this happen to us. We were at an event in Brooklyn back in, July, I think it was. And I don't drink cognac. Never really have, never really had a flavor for it.
Really good.
Right.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, if you like these bourbons, you'll like this. Just try it. And I tried it and I was like, you're right. Like it truly tasted almost exactly like an old fashioned. And I was like, that's amazing straight out of the bottle that it came off like that. But, this would have matched me to something like that and probably opened me up to try it more than, I would never have bought the bottle. I mean, the bottle he shared was a, $80 something bottle. I would have never bought it because I'm not a cognac guy. I would have never even thought to try it.
Right.
But now knowing that's one more thing that I can expand in my, palette of trying something new.
Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And it's funny that you say that because people come over to our house and they say, oh, well, you're a bourbon person. You should have, a bar full of bourbon. And they come over and I have an extensive bourbon collection, but I also have an extensive selection of rum and I have some vodkas and I do have some tequila and I have some cordials and I have some other things, and then I have everything to make, 6 dozen different kind of cocktails. So there's all kind of different flavors to go with everything. There's bitters, there's all kind of stuff. Oh, yes. So I need really like 6 bars in my house to hold all of it because I've run out of room. So, people think they see, cases of stuff stacked on the floor. They think, oh my God, she's got a problem.
Oh, that's our basement.
But, we're building a new house with lots more space.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
but,
I feel your pain.
But they say, well, I thought you just drank bourbon. Well, no, there's much more to it than that. It's like
Sure.
a
Well,
big
plus that
chemistry
would be
game,
boring if you just
right?
drink the same thing over and over again. And it just depends on what mood you're in. Like Michael will know that if I'm drinking bourbon tonight in honor of you, but no,
Aw, thank you.
but you can tell by what type of day I've had
Sure.
what
Oh yeah,
I pour when
Sure.
I get home. So
And so,
sure.
I mean, and it does depend on what you're doing. If I'm, it's been a real hot day and I'm sitting on a beach, I might prefer something with tequila or a vodka and something real citrus and light, versus, I'm sitting here at the house and the fire's going and we're watching TV. Then it might be something a little heavier and smoother, kind of thing. So
Well, and
you're right.
yeah,
It depends.
and there's seasonal drinks. In the
Sure.
summertime, you want a pina colada or a margarita or something, light, fruity, citrusy. And in
yes.
the wintertime, you want that smoked, heavy, pumpkiny, autumn flavored leaves in your cup, football-y kind of drink. So sure, I mean, sometimes you don't want that in the summer. It's just too heavy. And especially down here in Florida, it just gets too damn hot sometimes. We have to cool off. So,
Right.
and there's times at Christmas when we still need a margarita because it's 85 degrees outside and we're wearing
Yes.
flip-flops.
Yes.
So it just all kind of depends. But that's why we have a full stock, because you never know what you need.
Sure.
So what bourbon are you drinking tonight, Dolly?
So I am cheating tonight because Michael introduced me to an infinity bottle.
Oh, nice.
Yes. So I have no idea what he has put in this bottle. It's very tasty.
So yeah, because we end up with a lot of different bottles, we embrace the concept of an infinity bottle, and
I love the infinity bottle.
we just you have that last pour in a bottle, you mix it in with everything else, and it creates its own blend. I've never written down what's in there. It changes, all the time. Sometimes it's a little spicier than others, and
yeah. You'll know when I'm drinking out of the infinity bottle and when I'm not, because there are some times where he's put some spicy ones in there where I'm like, you know what? I could have been warned before I made this drink. And then, I just hand it to him.
So I'm on the other hand, every time I go to get a chance to talk about this brand that I'm drinking, I do as much as possible for a couple of reasons. One, it's a military brand, but two, one of the owners and founders of this brand used to be a boss of mine, and so I'm like, hey, anything I can do to give you a shout out, I will.
Oh, what is
So
it?
I am drinking. There it is, Sergeant's Valor,
Sergeant's Valor. Okay.
which is Beehawk Distillery down in North Carolina. Brad and Jess Halling started this brand. I used to work for Jess a long time ago, and they're both retired veterans, and created this brand right outside of what used to be Fort Bragg. It's now Fort Liberty, North Carolina, and Southern Pines, and they're doing fantastic things down there. I would tell you, if you haven't had a chance to check it out, check it out. Grab a bottle or two. They have a few different bottles down there. They have a rye. They have a Sergeant's Valor. They have a Madam Colonel and a pistachio cream Madam Colonel. Like, they have a few down there. So it's definitely a great bottle. I grab a couple when I go down there. So
nice. I got some New Riff rye in my cup tonight.
I've seen that bottle before.
Have you guys tried New Riff? I'm not much of a rye girl, and this is one of the first ryes that I ever had when I went to a Bourbon Women event. And I was so impressed with how smooth it is, just in a neat pour, that I thought, all right, I can drink a rye. So this is what I have in my cup, and I added a little bit of honey to it tonight because I am battling a sore throat. I came home with the Kentucky crud from our trip, but yeah. So New Riff rye, really, really nice, and it doesn't drink
we do that with the honey.
Yeah, so it's so funny with the honey. So Michael's mom raises bees, right? So the honey that we get from her is fantastic. You would never buy honey out of a store ever again once you have it. And so we were at a distillery in Virginia Beach, and the guy made me a bee's knees, which is with gin, right?
Yep.
And so we didn't have the kids one weekend. I was going to have a lazy weekend. And so I was thinking along the lines of, I wonder what honey would taste like if I just mixed it with bourbon. And
it's amazing.
Oh, well, I was still learning, right? It was very amazing to where Michael comes home and I'm on the couch and you can tell that I've had a couple of these. And he's like, "What in the world are you drinking?" And I'm like, "It's this with your mom's honey and it's great. You need to try it." And so he tried one and then he just joined me on the couch and I think we just watched Netflix for the rest of the day because we weren't moving because we were just going to drink it all
I love
day.
it. I love it.
Yes.
It's very good.
It was
That's
very,
great.
very good.
That's great. All right, so I downloaded the app. I'm a member.
So the app,
I've got it on my phone.
yes,
Ready to go.
you have the advanced copy right now. Give it 48 hours, and it will be updated to fill in all the blanks and have all the stuff on there that's missing. We are showcasing this at the American Distilling Institute conference on Monday. Well, actually, it starts Tuesday, but we'll be there Monday.
Cool.
So we're showcasing it there. Like I said, it will hit live. Apple's got it right now, but they're doing an update push tomorrow to kind of fill in a lot of gaps that didn't come over in the data transfer. But it'll be live next week. Google Play, I'm keeping my fingers crossed that nothing happens, but we have some hurdles with them that we have been crossing. So I'm hoping that makes it by next week as well. If not, it'll be, shortly thereafter. But
Okay.
yeah,
we love our Droid users. Don't be offended. It's coming. It's coming.
We're Droid users, but
Yes.
it's yeah. I don't know. Google Play just has different rules, but and they just make it a little more interesting to go through their process, and that's developer stuff. But yes, it'll be up, available. Everybody can download it, use it, and try it out, and give us some feedback. But understand that we have a plan all the way through the end of the year to produce updates and builds. So it is going to continuously grow and expand through the end of the year.
So when somebody logs in and makes an account like I did, what can they expect when they get in there?
So what they can expect is they'll see a homepage on the app that'll give them what we most recently added to the app, what's the highest community ratings in each kind of category. They can do a search feature to look up drinks if they want to find them. And then as they start to like different drinks and they rate them themselves, they'll fill in their my likes and more category and showing, more flavor matches for them. And then if they go into their profile section, there's actually a quiz they can take that will get them started. It will help them if they don't really know where to start, they don't have something they normally drink, and they just want to try it out straight. They can go to their profile and take a flavor profile quiz, 3 questions, and it will start them down the journey. They pick three little things. They're pictures. It's not very complex, but on the back end, it's more complex. And then it'll produce results to kind of help them start.
Okay.
Because the goal is not just to, because like Michael said, we're going to do updates and we plan on growing this. But the goal isn't just flavor matching. Hang on a second. I don't know what that is. But we want to expand it. Tell her because there's something wrong with my throat right now about the bars.
You need honey in your bourbon.
Sorry.
So eventually we're getting to the places, and that's what we're starting to do now with our business push, is we're going to get bars and restaurants to build their own menus and their custom drinks into the app so that when you go to a bar or restaurant, you can literally scan a QR code at that location, take the same kind of quiz, 3 questions, and then it will shrink their menu to 4 drinks that match the flavors that you're looking for. So you could, and it works in distilleries and tasting rooms or bars and restaurants. So if you've never been to a distillery and they've built all their bottles into this, and you walk in and you scan their QR code, you take the little quiz, and you say, I don't know what I want to try, it will spit out, here's 4 things on their menu that we think you should try based on the flavors you selected. And it'll reduce that time when you walk in and you look at that crazy menu or all those different flavors on the wall, or it's just overwhelming to you. It makes it a little easier. It's kind of a cheat code for, tasting a new spirit.
Sure.
And it will use everything, right? So you go to some of these distilleries that have bourbons and rums and whiskeys and vodkas and everything else. It will work on all of them and pare them down to the top 4 things on their menu that fit what you like.
Awesome.
So
And
I think it's going to be helpful. I'm sorry. I think it's going to be helpful when traveling, because we travel a lot and we never know where to go, or what's in the area, because we just got back from New York City, and New York City is very overwhelming with all the bars and stuff that are there. And so this will kind of help pinpoint you, hey, you might want to try this bar because you like this, and this bar has been rated as one of the top old fashions or top margaritas or whatever. So it can help that way as well.
Yeah, similar to what Yelp does on that, but this will be specific to your alcohols, right? And so, another neat function is if you go on a Facebook or a Instagram or any of the other social media platforms, and you follow an influencer, right? When they post about a new bottle crack that they're doing or a new beer that they're tasting or whatever, you literally have to search through their stuff to find the one video or the one photo or the one review they did on that product.
Right.
Where with the bar book, if they were to do that same review, it would tag to the product. So if I go and look at the bottle of New Riff Rye and I pull that up, at the bottom, I will see all the newsfeed hits from anybody that ever said anything about that bottle. So, if there happens to be an influencer that I like or something, I can just kind of swipe through and be, oh, yeah, hey, that's one that, I really align with in the same flavors and I trust with what they said. So,
like you.
So it'll help you that way as well.
Okay. Fantastic. Yeah, I was going to mention that I think it'll be very helpful for people that travel, because when you said that you're putting in some of the smaller craft distilleries where they don't necessarily distribute their product to bigger markets. So if I travel to South Carolina or I travel to Vermont or I travel somewhere where they don't have a wide distribution, but I know I'm going to be in that area and I know that there's something that's sold there that matches my flavor profile, and it comes up on the app, hey, you're in this area and this is what's sold here that you might like. Well, if I'm traveling through, I'm going to pick it up.
Yep. So because I'm sorry, as we were playing around with the app and developing it, that's how we found one of the distilleries in our backyard almost. So it's Bowman, right?
Yeah.
But Bowman Brothers, right? Yeah, Bowman Brothers, and that distillery literally is 30 miles from the house. So we literally got in the car one day,
and you didn't even know they were there.
Yeah, we didn't even know they were there. I'm like, oh, let's go down there and see what. And it's great, right? But it's not something that, they are now slowly getting expanding out. We saw.
We're seeing it. Yeah, we're seeing it more and more in different places. They're pretty good.
Yeah, but it was very, very good. But it's just the fact that it was less than 30 miles from the house and we didn't even know it existed.
Wow,
that's what we're trying to do to help people as well.
Yeah, the flip side to this is for the businesses or for the brands, right, that are trying to do this. I was having a conversation with somebody earlier today, and if you think about it, where there's a bottle that's easily available in Florida, but they just don't have their distribution in, let's say, Virginia, right? Use those two. They don't have their distribution in Virginia, and they can't convince Virginia to kind of take it on because they can't prove that it's going to do well. They can do whatever, but with the app, they can show, look at all these people in Northern Virginia that are rating this bottle and talking about this bottle and showing, all this. I can show you data that says Northern Virginia wants this. And so if you put it on the shelves, not only is it going to go, but it should get good placement because it's going to go fast. So it helps them out as well. It gives them some analytics that they can use, for their distribution plans and their marketing plans to kind of go a step further.
Sure. Yeah. And that makes great sense. And that's incentive for them to sign up, put their product out there for your app. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. We have a ton of business features out there. There's a whole thing on our social media stuff that talks about what we do for the brands that's coming live a little later in September. But all those brands that are coming out, and we have some that have already started with us and kind of joined in because they're ready to get on this. And that is, what we're going to do for them is going to be amazing. They're going to use all of this data. It's going to be really cool with some of the things they'll be able to do with the analytics and see where people are tasting it and trying it everywhere.
Let us help you.
Help us. Help us to help you. Help us to help you.
Yeah.
So are you guys going to hit a national tour with this and take it everywhere to really promote it?
Eventually we
Yes.
need to build, I think we need to build it a little bit more, because my biggest fear is that I don't ever want to be like the emperor has no clothes. Right. So build it a little bit more, but yes, we will, take it on the road, because, I'd like to retire and just do this for the rest of my life.
Oh, girl, me too.
And I just think, and I think it would be helpful, because I told Michael that the goal of this is, I don't know if you're really into football or not. But
are you kidding? I live in the South. We're all into football
well, I
down
grew
here.
up in South Carolina, so you got to do football. I said, eventually I want a bowl game. Like, I want a bar book bowl, and it can be sponsored with someone else as well. But eventually,
I love it. Love it.
I was like, if we can have a Duke's mayonnaise bowl, I think we can do a bar book bowl. I don't think that's too far fetched, right? And who was it? Pitbull just got his name on a bowl.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. So I want a bar book bowl.
Lofty goals, but I think you're swinging for the fence, but why not?
Why not? Right?
Why not?
If you're gonna put a dot on the map as a a place
Why
to shoot
not?
for, why not?
Go for it.
And I will settle for one of the bowls that are like on December 18th or 19th, right? I'm not looking for New Year's Day just yet, but I need a bowl.
You're not ready to take over the Barbook Rose Bowl just yet?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Rose Bowl.
Oh, if she could have it, it would be an SEC bowl with Alabama playing.
Yeah, Alabama would have to be one of the teams. Roll Tide. But seriously, and so I'm showing my age now. Do you remember, New Year's Day and New Year's Eve would just be the 6 bowls, the Cotton Bowl, Sugar Bowl. Like, there were certain bowls.
I remember when they didn't have corporate sponsors and they were actually just called the Cotton Bowl and the Sugar Bowl.
Yes. And so if they're going to have corporate sponsors, eventually the Bar Book will be sponsoring something. I don't even care.
I think you need to aim for the Sugar Bowl. Let's all go to Louisiana and have a good time in New Orleans.
I could do that.
That would be fun.
There's not much arm twisting that's going to take.
Yeah, I love college football. So this is the other way where we are different. I love college football, and he's an NFL guy.
Yeah.
And so I've had to bring him over to the college football way of life, because literally, even though he is a football aficionado, he knew nothing about college football.
I mean, I know how it's played.
Nothing.
I know a little
nothing
bit
about the teams. Like, I'm screaming and yelling. I'm like, hey, I've got to be here because this team's playing that team, and
you have to understand all the rivalries. And
and he none of that. Well, I mean, it's because he grew up in Indiana. Like, okay,
because college football is nothing up there compared to what it is down here.
Yes.
See, I'm a Gator girl.
Oh,
generation Florida Gator, so I get it.
Oh God.
Hey, at least we're not Florida State fans.
What?
At least we're not Florida State fans.
Well, so once again, showing my age, I was explaining this to Michael, and he just was like, I don't get it, because I was in Indiana. You remember when Florida and Florida State used to be really, really good? That was like, you stopped what you were doing when Florida and Florida State played each other.
Oh, yeah.
People don't believe me when I was like, that used to be.
That was the big rivalry.
Right. It was always the first weekend in December. Like, you knew in December, that Saturday, you're watching Florida State.
Yeah. Yep. The reason I never got engaged and turned on to college football
because you're surrounded by Purdue and
Indiana. It had nothing to do with that. It had everything to do with, okay, so who's the best team? Well, because they never had a bowl system, or they never had a system to a championship. And even the one they got now, I'm still kind of
He doesn't like that so many people get to compete for a championship.
Right. Like, okay, you're the champion of what now?
Yeah, he doesn't, he's anyway. So I ignore that, but I'm trying to get
32 teams. They go, and there's a pyramid at the end. There's one. Can only be one.
And this shows you that he's a bad football person anyway, because his NFL team is the Colts. So,
it's not a bad football team. We have
it's not a good one either.
We have a great football team.
I was only a fan of the Colts for like a year, and that was only because the Gator went and played for them for a little while.
See?
He's starting this year, by the way.
Which one is that?
Anthony Richardson's a Gator.
Oh, that's not the Gator I was talking about.
Is he a Gator?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he was one of our quarterbacks. I was talking about Chris Doring.
Oh, yeah. Anthony Richardson is. He
But
didn't
because I love you,
that's showing my age because Chris Doring and I went to high school together.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah,
we went to elementary, middle, and high school together. We grew up together.
Yeah, no. I will support the Colts because you love them, baby, and I love you.
Oh, that's love right there.
Yes.
And Tom Brady's not playing anymore.
Well,
thank goodness.
So people don't understand. They thought I was a Patriots fan because I was a bandwagon fan. And I wasn't a bandwagon fan. I have followed Tom Brady ever since he played for Michigan. And most people forget that he played for Michigan. So wherever he went, I followed because whether you like him or not, because of course Michael is a big Peyton Manning fan. I like the fact that every opportunity that Tom Brady got, he took full advantage of it. And right. So it was like you were drafted in the last round of the draft, and you're now one of the best quarterbacks ever. Like, that's an awesome story, whether you like him or not. Respect the game.
My husband he's both a college fan and an NFL fan, and he is a huge Brady fan. So
yeah,
he and I go back all the time because I pick on him. I'm like, Brady Schmady, whatever. But I do have massive respect for how he's played the game all these years. But I give him a hard time about it. But Mike, how can you be a Peyton Manning fan? I mean, come on.
That's my guy.
He has the jersey. Like, he loves Peyton Manning so much that when he retired from the Army, his best friends got together and got him an autographed Manning jersey that is framed in our house. Like, it is crazy.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
See, down here in Gainesville, we don't like him because he came here and tried to play us, and we went up there and played him, and he never beat Florida when he was playing at Tennessee. Never beat us. And he actually came to Florida and looked at going to school here and turned his nose up at us. And we said, well, okay, turn your nose up at us. We'll whoop your butt every year. And we did. So.
Okay, well, that part of Florida I appreciate because what? Just admit he's not as good as Tom Brady, and we don't ever have to have this conversation again.
Oh, see, you and I are going to get along good.
He is not as good as Tom Brady.
Don't make a joke. I know what you're about to say. Don't
changing the rules of the NFL.
Oh my gosh! And you know what quarterback benefited the most from those rules was Peyton Manning. I'm sorry, we have digressed from bourbon to football.
But this is what happens when you're at a bar and you're having bourbon.
Absolutely.
You go from talking about bourbon to talking about football to talking about life, and that's what we do here. So.
Oh, absolutely. And I'll tell you what, one of the coolest things about this project with us and, putting the bar book together has just been the people.
Absolutely.
Like you said, meeting the people, talking to the brand owners, the bar owners, just hanging out and talking to different, it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you guys have got a great thing going here. And I think the app is just going to be amazing. You know, it's just getting launched, just getting started, and it's going to take off like crazy.
From your lips to God's ears. Yes. Yes.
Well, I wish you guys all the luck, and I hope that when this is massively blown up and all over the place, we can have you back on the show, and we'll do a revisit. And by then, you'll be announcing which bowl game the Bar Book will be sponsoring.
Yes, and then we will have you in the VIP seats because you were with us from the beginning.
That's right.
Yes,
that's right.
And even if it's Alabama playing, I will wear crimson just for you. Even if it's not the Gators, I know when to eat crow and play the game. So.
Well, and if the Gators make it, I can wear orange and blue. I can justify that because my high school colors were orange and blue. So I can,
I'm always Gators first, but then I'm always SEC second. So if the Gators are out of it, I'm going to cheer for whatever SEC team is still there. So
you know what? You're so much a better person than me. Because if it's
except Tennessee, I really have a hard time cheering for Tennessee. I have
a hard time with LSU and Georgia. Like,
Georgia's hard too sometimes.
See why I said she needs to come out there and spend that week with you guys in Louisville?
Oh yeah, you're gonna love it next year. We're gonna get you in there.
Okay, well, thank you. Yep. Just remember that when I'm like, baby, I'm leaving for a week, and all 4 kids are yours. Just remember that.
I'm leaving for a week, and all 4 kids are yours.
I know. He leaves on Sunday, and I've got all 4, so it will bounce. Yes. Yes, yes.
And their football, their cross country, their volleyball.
Yes, sir. We're all into sports over here. So
that's what he was saying. You're going to be busy.
Yes. But you know, it's painful in the moment, but I appreciate it when it's done.
Yeah.
So, you know, and then hopefully
you'll miss them when they're grown and gone. So
yes. So here's the thing. I don't ever want them to leave. And he's like, they're leaving. Like they're going to leave. And I'm like, no.
You'll want them to leave eventually. You will, because you'll want to be able to revel in how proud you are of what kind of humans you have raised them to be, and you'll want to see them flourish on their own as they get out into the world.
That's a true statement. As long as they don't forget about Mama, we're good.
They won't. We've got two. One is about to turn 26. He's married and he's on his own. And the other one is 20 and he's still here at home with us. And he's about to be a fledgling. He's working on it. And it's great to have him here because we love them both very much. And it's great to have the one on his own and married and starting his life. And you know, it's we get the best of both worlds because we have one in each place. And it was real hard for my husband to adjust to not having him there, to having him here, to not having him here. And I said, look, they're growing up, and just be proud of what good humans they are, because they're great kids. They're good boys. You know, they're doing their thing. They're living life. They're being productive, and you know, what more can you ask for? So
that's true. But they're still my babies. They're still my babies. So we will circle back with you once this does take off. And thank you for
absolutely. And if you guys get down here to Florida on your bar book tour, let me know.
We will.
We will certainly, you know, escort you around some of the North Central Florida areas, and you know, if we can help you with any introductions or anything, we'll be happy to do it.
Sweet. Thank you. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I wish you guys the best of luck. I have so enjoyed talking to you, and I will be in touch.
Okay.
All right.
Take care, guys.
Thanks.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
You can check out the Bar Book at thebarbook.co, where you can download the app, and you can also find links to follow them on their Facebook page as well as their Instagram page. And speaking of socials, don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe to all of the socials for Stirrups and Spirits on our website, YouTube, and TikTok channels. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode. Cheers! We just